Are y'all ready to see me cry? Gotta get to this part. To everything? That's sweet. How is it possible for this book to break my heart again? Don't take it lightly, y'all. Guys, just when I thought there was gonna be a little bit of happiness, I'm actually gonna cry. This poor man. Guys, I saw a few other people film this video idea, and honestly, I've been looking through my bookshelves recently, and I've seen that I have a bunch of sad books that I've really been wanting to read. So I was like, what better way than to film reading sad books for a week video? As y'all know, I love doing different reading challenges, so whenever I saw this video idea, I was like, of course I have to do it. I've collected a few sad books recently that I think we're gonna be reading in today's video. Let's show you guys what we've got here. We've got none other than A Little Life. I really don't know exactly what this book is about. I just know that it follows 4 friends and like some of the trials and stuff that they go through, particularly one friend, I believe. But I picked this up at Barnes & Noble a little bit ago, and I've been really excited to read it. It's been sitting on my shelf for a while, so I want to get through it. And then also, for this past Christmas, my sister gave me these 2 books. This is the If He Had Been With Me series. I know that the author released this book a long time ago, If He Had Been With Me, and I never read it, but it was like really popular years ago. And then more recently, she just released this one, If Only I Had Told Her, which is like from a different perspective in the series, like a different point of view from another character. So I'm really excited to get into this series and just see what it holds. I don't know which one I want to start with. Honestly, A Little Life seems pretty daunting. I kind of want to start with the other series first, I think, because, well, first of all, there's like not that many words on a page. It kind of seems easier to get through, whereas A Little Life, like the pages are really thin and there's small words, and so it just like goes on and on and on. These I think will be a much quicker read, which I think is what I need right now. So we're gonna go ahead and start out with today, If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. Shout out Catherine for buying me this book. Let's get on into it. I'm really excited. I don't know exactly what this book is about, but I've seen that it's popular, so I think I'll probably enjoy it. I'll give y'all a little bit more updates once I get further in. Okay, I'm sitting here about to start If He Had Been With Me. Really exciting. I'm honestly not sure what this book is about at all, so let's go ahead and read the back just so we can tell. Autumn and Finn used to be inseparable, but then something changed, or they changed. Now they do their best to ignore each other, okay? Autumn has her boyfriend Jamie and her close-knit group of friends. Finn has become that boy at school, the one everyone wants to be around. That still doesn't stop the way Autumn feels every time she and Finn cross paths, and the growing, nagging thought that maybe things could have been different. Maybe they should be together. Wait, she has a boyfriend. Awkward. As time passes, Autumn realizes she might not get another chance to make things right before it's too late. Interesting. Okay, I'm really excited. Let's go ahead and open this book up and get started. For my husband Robert, without you, I wouldn't have known how to write about true love. Aww, that's sweet. Chapter 1. Why is that like 2 pages? Oh my gosh, this book has short chapters. I love that. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay. Chapter 1, starting off real strong. That is some drama for real. Okay, this book seems like it's gonna cover some pretty heavy topics. I'm kind of excited. I like heavy books. Let's continue on the reading. Okay, I've been reading If He Had Been With Me for a little bit now. I think I'm like to the point in the book where I kind of know like enough of what's going on to explain the premise to you guys if you're interested in reading it. Let's see, I'm on chapter 15 or page 70. This book follows the main character, Autumn. She is a high school student who lives with her mom next door to Finn, who is her mother's best friend's son. They've grown up together over the years. They've been kind of inseparable, but once they kind of hit middle school and are going into high school, they've realized realize that they don't really fit within the same group at school, so they've kind of gone their separate ways. Finn is a really popular kid. He plays soccer, which is like the popular sport at the school. Autumn's like a weird girl, stereotypically weird girl, whatever. She wears a tiara, hangs out with like more of the goth group. So their natural friendship over the years just kind of dissipated. We're at the point in the story where both of them are dating another person, and it's like kind of awkward. Their families still try to act as one. It's like you can tell there's a little bit of something brewing, but it's kind of like confusing. Autumn is like really confused because she doesn't know that she exactly loves the boy that she's currently dating, and so this isn't a spoiler, it's literally on the back of the book. She's like confused about if she would have been with Finn instead. Even people in the book say like, you look like you're meant to be a popular girl, like you were accepted in the group, you were gonna try out for cheerleading, your house looks like that of a popular girl, you live next to this popular guy, like your whole life is set up for you to be like that, but yet you're here. And she starts wondering, hey, what if I was supposed to be that instead? That's kind of where I'm at right now. Honestly, I've been flying through this book. It's been really easy to get through. I'm enjoying the short chapters. I'm enjoying the storyline. It's really easy to follow. It's just from her point of view in this book, which honestly kind of makes it a little bit easier to read. You can just go straight from chapter to chapter without even trying to figure out what point of view you're in, where you're at. Really easy, and so therefore it's been like an hour of me reading this and I'm already this far in the story. I think this book portrays like entry-level high school in a really accurate light. Like honestly, I remember those days. It was awkward. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just continue to read. I've got a few other things I need to do today. I've got to go to work later, gotta knock out some homework, so we'll catch up with y'all later probably. Hello everyone, it is the next day. I just got back home from school and it's currently 5 o'clock, so it's a little bit dark. I'm gonna continue reading this book today. I'm really excited. Yesterday I finished the day at page 109. Alrighty, I've been reading this book for the past couple days and I'm now to, what chapter am I on? Let's take a look. I'm in the middle of chapter 28. Yeah, for the most part this book pretty much has like really short chapters, which I'm actually really liking. That helps me fly through a book a lot quicker. Let me just say, this whole story has kept me like very entertained so far. Sometimes whenever I'm reading a book I can get a bit bored from it and want to like pause and do something else and come back to it later, but for the most part this book has been like, I've been having other tasks I need to do, and so therefore I can't just sit there and read it for hours on end. I want to, I just can't. So I feel like if I had the time for it I would have definitely finished this book by now. I feel like this is one of those that you can literally finish in like one day. Very quick and easy to read. Not in the way that it's boring, okay, keep that in mind. It's very entertaining. A few little notes I have on it here. The very first chapter, I feel like a lot of books do this with their first chapter. They'll like preview later into the story and have like events that you know are gonna come up later in the story happen in the first chapter, and then it'll move back in time to like the present day, and then the story will go from there. Something very dramatic happened in the first chapter. Normally I feel like authors do that and then write the rest of the story in hopes that you'll kind of forget that first chapter, but I've like kept it in the back of my mind. I remember what happened and I'm interested to see how that's gonna play out if it does. Obviously there's probably gonna be some big plot twist with that in mind. So this book strikes me as a type of story to where it's like two people that very obviously can't see how the other person feels. They both clearly feel the same way and they just won't admit it to each other, and that book normally drives me crazy. But I will say in this case I feel like that's the entire premise of this book. I don't mind it. It kind of, in a way, and this book is instead keeping me wanting to continue reading. I kind of want to change up my location, my reading location. So Tyler and I are going to go to the local lake because it's warmed up a little bit outside. It's like in the 50s I think, which is warm for how it's been. Okay, it's been like, there's still ice frozen on the ground I'm pretty sure that hasn't melted, but so I think we're gonna go ahead and go to the lake. I'll catch you guys there for a little bit of a change of scenery and we're gonna continue reading this book. There's actually no way. Oh. Oh my gosh. Guys, I've been sitting here reading this book. I read a lot of school yesterday. Glad I didn't get to this part. Gosh, I've got this much left. Let me just say, I've been flying through this book. Yesterday I flew through it, today I flew through it, and now I'm like almost at the end. You just have to read it, okay? I don't even know what to say. I'm gonna finish it and I'll come back to you. Wait, stop. This is little. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This book is dark. Oh my gosh. I literally. How is it the end? How is it the end? I don't even know. I'll be back. Y'all, it has been a few days later. I have been pondering this book, okay? Pondering. It has left me pondering. Man, I have thoughts over this book. This broke my heart. I was like in complete shock by the ending. I don't know, like, I feel like a few people could have predicted it, but bro, like, I don't know. I just was so attached to everything. I don't know. Let me share some of my thoughts because I've got a lot. I want to start off by saying this book is a very realistic coming of age novel. I really enjoyed some of the different themes of friendships, family, relationships, just like the different issues that come with all of that, and then all throughout high school, different things that teenagers often go through. It was very raw, very intense, and dark. I will say it was very dark. There was a lot of very strong themes throughout this book that I would definitely recommend looking up some of the trigger warnings for before you go into it, just so you can make sure that you're not gonna affect yourself too bad. Lots of family drama, real family issues that a lot of people deal with. This book was captivating, okay? I understand that a lot of people say it can read kind of younger, just like the way the words are and stuff, but for me, that honestly kind of just like made it to where I could fly through it without getting hung up on certain words or things that were too complicated for me to understand. I don't know. Therefore, I flew through this book. Would have read it all in one sitting if I could have, honestly. The only reason I did it is because I got a lot going on. I'm a full-time college student and I work a job. So I didn't show it, but like, bro, or maybe I did, I don't know. I was like so close to crying in this book. It didn't bring tears, but it easily could have. If I wasn't like on camera, I probably would have cried. I don't know. It was a lot. I get really easily attached to characters. I will say there are so many like little details that were talked about throughout the story that like if you pay attention to the different wording and like different scenes and things that happen throughout, the ending will hurt even worse because somehow those themes and situations play out in the end in like such a weird way. Like everything kind of ties through. There's different like foreshadowing that like, I don't know, you wouldn't think about until the end and you're like, wait a minute, that's why that was discussed. Oh my gosh. A lot of people could say that this has like an abrupt ending. I would agree, but I also kind of like that aspect of the book. I like that it leaves you wondering and pondering, as I was saying. I feel like the point of it is to leave you wondering, you know? Overall, love this book. Very, very happy that I got it. My sister gave me this for Christmas and really, really glad that I got the chance to read it because it was such a beautiful story. I ended up giving this book 5 stars because while it broke my heart, it was so beautiful and so intense. I just loved it. And I feel like even over this past couple days, like I've just been unable to stop thinking about it and the different foreshadowing and just the characters and everything. Really recommend it. So because I read that book, I of course have to pick up the next book that the author wrote. She wrote this one a lot more recently. I think this one just came out, but this book follows the guy's perspective. That's literally all I know about it, but given what I've read in that one, I'm really, really intrigued. So we're gonna go ahead and pick it up. This is If Only I Had Told Her, obviously by the same author, Laura Nolan. Let's get it started. Guys, I have a few little updates. Yesterday I got to page 149, which is like the first part of the book complete. Y'all, how is it possible for this book to break my heart again? The other one already did and now this one is too. Re-breaking my heart over the same thing. I just feel like this series mostly the first book, is gonna just live in my brain for so long to come. Just rent-free living in there. Yeah, I feel like reading this book, I will not lie, it was a little bit repetitive reading, kind of like the same events happening just from a different perspective, especially with like the dialogue and stuff. Because I had just read the other book, it felt a teensy bit repetitive, but like I still ate it up and did not want to put this book down last night and go to bed. But I finally did once I got to the second part. So now I'm following a new point of view. Interesting. We're gonna continue on the reading. Alright guys, I wanted to come back on and give my final thoughts. For if only I had told her, because yes, I finished this book. And wow. This story in general, this book, and If Only He Had Been With Me, or whatever it's called, both of them extremely good. I love the first one a lot more though, I will say. I gave this one, I believe, 3 stars. It's been a little bit since I've read it, and I just had to process, honestly, what I thought about it. Beautiful story overall. Deals with extremely difficult, triggering topics, so definitely look those up if you feel that you need to before you pick it up, obviously. I will say I enjoyed this book, however, don't personally think it was needed. I think there's a reason that, you know, she wrote this book like 10 years or something later than she wrote the first book in the series. I think the original book was kind of meant to leave a lot of questions unanswered in that it was supposed to be thought-provoking in that way. I don't know. This book tied up a lot of loose ends for people that felt that they needed that, but in my opinion, I think that that was the point, was for the loose ends to not be tied up, if that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, this book tied things up. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't as powerful as the first book, but I don't think there's any way it could have been. So for that, I give it a 3.5 stars. There's parts of it I didn't enjoy as much. Parts of it I was kind of like, okay, I don't really care about these topics. It followed different characters that we didn't get to follow in the first book, just unraveling their thoughts and feelings on the story. Some parts of this book I didn't connect with, and so I found it a bit harder to get through that just because certain topics, like, I don't really care about reading about. I don't know. I don't really know what I can say without giving it away, so I'm not going to. Nevertheless, I enjoyed the series. I think it's a very important read for a lot of people. I think that's about enough of this one. Cared more about some characters than others and their stories. They were a bit more interesting to me, but you'll just have to read it to see what you think for yourself, honestly. Alright, the next update I have for you guys. I know you guys have been waiting throughout the entire video for me to pick up this particular book. That's right. A Little Life by Hanya. I don't know how to say that last name. This is the book that I have heard has destroyed so many people. This book is very intense and it will leave you ending up like the man on the front cover. However, I don't really know exactly why. I just have a bit of FOMO whenever I see other people reading this. I just want to know what it is that destroys them. I like reading sad books, so hence the video in the first place. I know that this book follows 4 college classmates and kind of their friendship and their life as they live in New York. Follows a lot of different topics apparently, including like addiction, success, pride, childhood trauma, love, the families they're born into, and those that we make for ourselves. I just honestly am excited to see the emotional effect that this book has on me. So last night I started reading it and the chapters are very long. I only got to page 25, which is like halfway through chapter 1. This book, oh my gosh, it doesn't look that big, but it's actually, I believe it's over 800 pages. It doesn't look that big, but it's because the papers are so dang thin. It's like Bible paper. I don't even know how to describe it, but and also every single page is filled with so many words. They're minuscule. The audiobook I think is like 30 hours long. This is gonna be a process to get through, but I'm excited nevertheless. So far, I will say that the writing is a bit simpler to comprehend than I kind of had it in my head. I honestly thought this was gonna be like a classic in that you can't really understand the words. It's old English, blah, blah, blah. But no, this is a modern book. I don't know where I got that idea, but you can understand. We're gonna see where it goes. I'll keep you updated. guys, I've been reading a little bit of A Little Life. I am currently on page 142, which is in the middle of the second part of the book. I'm in the first chapter of the second part. The first part was more so just introducing all of the characters and seeing how they kind of tied in together, setting up the story a little bit. And then now that we're in the second part, it's getting more into Jude's point of view. I feel like he's gonna be the main character of the story. I can't really figure out exactly who's the main character because there's these 4 boys, but he seems like the one that has the most trauma so far, so I'm kind of assuming that it's probably him. We're kind of getting a little bit of his backstory right now, what makes him the way he is and what leads into some certain parts of his life and how he ended up in New York. I will say the first part I was a little bit less intrigued, but now that I'm into Jude's point of view in particular, I'm really interested to see where it's gonna go. I'm gonna continue on with my reading. I've been doing a lot of like reading at night, just like sitting in my bed before I go to sleep and reading, so I haven't really filmed a lot of that, but I think that's probably gonna be what a lot of my reading is gonna be, just because I don't know, something about a character driven book just makes you want to read it in bed at night. That's when I have a lot of my free time anyway, so yep, I've been enjoying it so far. Y'all, it's the next day. Where have I gotten in this? I'm just now starting part 3, Vanities. I have thoughts. I have serious thoughts on this book. Y'all, this has been quite the whirlwind of a book. There are some seriously tough parts to be read in this book. Please be warned. Don't take it lightly, y'all. Like, I found myself almost crying already. This whole thing just seems like a giant puzzle that I'm trying to piece together. Like, we just keep getting these tiny, tiny portions of Jude's life, and I'm like, I just want to know. It keeps me wanting to keep reading the story. Honestly, whenever I first went into this book, I thought it was going to be all sadness, but like, it's kind of shocking because there's some happy parts in the book too. But like, especially in Jude's perspective, which is what part 2 pretty much all was, seeing how like even those happy parts affected him so much because he was just so scared of like it turning into something worse and that he didn't deserve to be happy, all rooted because of this childhood trauma that he's had. We don't really know exactly what it is. We've gotten bits and pieces, but just seeing how scared he is and how undeserving he feels is so heartbreaking. He just seems to always be expecting the worst to happen and can never really accept that happiness for himself without that worry underneath. Y'all, I'm just already so attached to Jude. He's like, he's such a sweet person underneath. I can tell that he cares so much about the people in his life and not hurting anybody. Like, I'm literally this far. Can y'all see that? Like, I'm barely into this book and I'm already so attached to him, and literally stuff that's happening to him already is already hurting me, so it makes me a bit nervous as like we progress further into the book how devastating this book is truly gonna be. We're getting bits and pieces, and yeah, I can see it a little bit already. I still don't really know what I'm getting myself into with this book because, you know, like I said, I wanted to go in truly blind. I didn't look anything up. I tried to avoid videos and reels and everything about it, but it's making me nervous to keep reading but excited at the same time just to see what the hype is all about and how it's gonna affect my emotions. Anyway, I'm gonna continue. I'm on part 3 now. I'm not sure what exactly that's gonna be about, but I'll keep y'all updated, and as I get further into the book, I'll try to capture more of my raw emotions. Y'all, Jude cannot get any happiness. I'm actually gonna cry. This poor man. Literally just when I thought, you know, maybe he was gonna get a little bit of a happy story. Just one little happy moment in his life. No. I'm also kind of sick and so I can't cry. Oh my gosh. Like, he doesn't deserve this. Why is the world so against him? I hate this so much. But also, I just need to keep reading to figure out what is gonna happen. I need to know why, like what, I don't know. I don't know. This is just, it's so hard. This is so hard. Like what I just read. No, like why? Why? Okay, so I do want to discuss a few little things now that I've kind of like hit that stopping point because the book is intense. I feel like I'm at the point of the book right now where I'm just like kind of reading whenever I feel like it. Usually if I'm really into a book, I can read it for you know, long periods of time and whatever, but this one, it's just one of those books where you can't read it for too long or else it's gonna start messing with your head. It's very emotionally intense and like triggering for some people, so I just kind of have been like spacing it out, not trying to push myself too hard to read it whenever I don't feel like it. One thing I didn't mention was just how long the chapters are, and just like everything about this book is long. Like there's a lot of words on each page. Each chapter, it's taken me like over an hour to read every single chapter, and there's not a lot of breaks within, so it just seems to be going on and on about all this depressing stuff, and it's like, dude, it's kind of a lot, but it's still so gripping at the same time. I don't know. While most of the chapters follow Jude, who's the main character of the story, it's interesting too whenever it will switch it up and put a chapter in another character's point of view. That way you're getting to know their struggles too, and why they do what they do, and how that also affects Jude and how they affect each other. There's so much representation for this book for addiction, and a person not realizing they're addicted and seeing that point of view is really interesting too, especially like whenever the character doesn't want to admit it to themselves. It's just really like an interesting thing to read about, in my opinion. Overall, I feel like there's not much of a plot going on right now besides just like their life. Most of the conflict is like their internal struggles, if that makes sense, and not really like some big event happening that they're all fighting against. It's more so just their battles with themselves and their past trauma and how it affects them, which honestly, y'all know I do love a good character-driven story, and I'm all for kind of like the psychology of what makes people who they are. Sometimes though, I do need a little bit of plot, so at times in this, I was a little bit bored. Not so much bored, it's just like, I don't know, I need like a quicker paced fantasy book or something to kind of break it up, you know what I mean? So I'm a bit conflicted about how I feel. I can tell that it's picking up a little bit. It starts to pick up a little bit and then it slows back down, and then it picks up a little bit and it slows back down, which probably good for, you know, the reader's sanity. Y'all have to be quiet because Tyler's taking a test, but like, this is not good. This is not good. Like, you know that feeling whenever you know something bad's about to happen and you're just like, please, can you not just see it? But it's like, there's no way he could have seen it. I just know something terrible's about to happen, and there's nothing that can be done. I'm just here to witness it and read. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I just finished part 4. Yeah, the fact that stuff like this actually happens in the world, in this world that we're living in, is so... When you think you know everything that happened and you kind of are trying to guess it, and then you learn the rest of it, and then you realize the effects that it had. And it's like the fact that this is real stuff that happens. I'm in so much pain. Like how, oh my gosh, this is gonna put me in a book slump. This author, she is so good, let me just tell you. The way that it flips back and forth between the past and the present, and it's so intentional with the timelines and how it stops at certain points, and it's just so intense. But like realizing that it's actually real stuff that happens, oh my gosh, that's like what makes it so intense, I think, because it's uncomfortable, but like that's the point. I can't. I'm gonna take a break because how am I gonna see anything in this world the way I did? This freaking book, y'all. It's like, what do you do when someone you love so much is doing this? It's just so complicated. Like, what do you do? Ugh. Just when I thought there was gonna be a little bit of happiness, of course there's not. Of course there's more pain and hardship. It just, unfortunately, this kind of trauma just lasts. It lasts forever. You can't do anything about it. It's always gonna be there underneath. I'm at about 600 pages right now. Honestly, I might try to just get to the end and then give kind of like an overall summary, my thoughts, because like I don't even know what to say. It's so painful, and just like, it's real life stuff that people deal with, and it's so hard to even like know what to say and how to react. So last night I actually finished part 6 out of the 7 parts of the book, meaning I'm about 90% of the way through. My Goodreads says 99, but I've still got like a little bit left, so I don't really know what that's about. Let me tell y'all, if you know, you know. If you've read this book and you read the last paragraphs of part 6, you would know the kind of reaction that it's getting out of me and why. I literally, let me tell you, I just sat there and stared like this. Like, I just stared. That's all I was thinking about. Couldn't even process. I was just staring into space, trying to register all that these poor people have gone through. And now we're probably gonna see the effects of that in the last part of this book. I'm just honestly kind of dreading reading that because this poor man has been through enough, and now this. Seriously. I've literally read all of that. I read all that. I finished the book. Y'all, I have some thoughts on this book, okay? I had to take a few days. I finished it a couple days ago, but let me tell you, I had to take some days to process my thoughts and my feelings because it was a lot. Even the ending, sad. Okay, this whole book, just sadness. Now, I know you've probably seen this book and you want to read it because you see everybody with these outward reactions who are processing this book with these such intense emotions, and you want to know why. It makes you curious to know like what's in the book. You think you can handle it, but I just want to say I don't recommend this book in the way that if you're just simply curious as to know why everyone's struggling so much with reading it. I think that before you go into it, you just need to understand that it's very intense and it's gonna mess with your head mentally, and it's going to cover very difficult, dark topics, and I think you just have to fully try to understand that concept before you really go into it, if that makes sense. I'll tell you, it's a good story. At the end of the day, it's really just intense and raw and emotional, and I enjoyed reading about it at the end of the day, but at the same time, did I? Because it was so hard to read. Let me just start out by saying the writing style of this book was absolutely beautiful. Like, nothing I've ever read before, in a way. It was so unique, and just the way that she describes things, the pacing was so intentional. The fact that you're reading like these characters' whole entire life, she doesn't tell you, you know, certain days and dates. She just kind of describes their life and the passage of time as they're getting older, and you can just kind of tell that they're maturing emotionally and like their struggles kind of change as they get older. It's really interesting in that way. You're just kind of getting to know the characters over the span of their whole entire life, which I think was a really interesting and unique take to writing a book. Like I said before, it's literally just a character study, okay? You're gonna feel so strongly for the characters, and that's part of the reason why the things they go through affect you so bad, like on a personal level almost. You have to take breaks while you're reading the story, or else it's gonna affect you mentally. That's what I was noticing too for me. Like if I would try to read the book for an extended amount of time, it would like really start affecting me emotionally. It would put me in a really like bad mindset. I don't know how to explain it, but even after I would stop reading it, I would go out in public and try to move on with my day, and I would just be stuck thinking about these traumatic things, and it really gets ya. I don't know. The scenes in this book are extremely detailed, especially when it comes to like the trigger warnings and stuff. I want to let it be known that they're like extremely detailed in the way that it talks about it, and so it's so hard to read about, but I think it's purposefully done like that. But it's like right when it starts to really affect you and like the scenes are getting really, really intense, it's like the author will switch it up by bringing in a new time in the life where something glider happens, and it's just, you know, like I said, the pacing is just very, very intentional, and I really enjoyed that. I don't think I can rate it. I really don't. I wanted to give it 5 stars, but I'm also like, can I even do that? Because oh my gosh, it destroyed me. How can I give something that hurt me to read and that I couldn't sit there and read 5 stars? I don't know. So I think I'm just gonna not rate it because it's my channel and I make the rules. Yeah, I think it's gonna stick with me forever. I didn't really understand what people meant whenever they said that, but I can't see myself not thinking about this book. Wow. I'm just so glad I chose to read it at the end of the day. I think it makes you think about life very differently, but take that as you will. I don't want to recommend it to you unless you really think that you can handle it, so the decision is up to you at the end of the day. That about sums up my thoughts on this book, generally speaking. Sorry that was a lot. This book was a lot. What can I say? I really hope you guys enjoyed this video overall. Reading sad books. Kind of a different style video than what I normally film, but hope that it was entertaining nevertheless. After this, I'm for sure gonna have to read some happy books. I'm like looking at my bookshelf thinking about what I want to pick next, so stay tuned for that because much happier videos are to come. Thanks guys so much for watching. I love you all so much, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.
Illusion.